Welcome to Faith and Freedom, the conversation where faith and politics collide. We bring you real, honest discussions on the issues shaping America through a biblical lens. Here are your hosts, Kathy Ryan and LaTanya Evans.
Woohoo! We made it.
We made it. Hi, Kathy.
We've had some difficulties. The enemy doesn't want us going live tonight.
Oh my goodness. Wow. We have, and I don't know if you all, I'm seeing when I smile, oh my goodness.
Don't point it out, you're fine.
Exactly. So I won't even mention it. How are you, Kathy? I know.
I'm doing good. It's a hard time right now, but life is good. Life is really good. So we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. A lot is going on right now. In our nation, in time, literally, and just life period. But we are here, thank God, and so that is something to be thankful for sure. So
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah.
Tonight is about law and order and fair maps. So there's two subjects that we wanted to cover tonight is, what's happening in Washington, D.C., our state's capital. When foreign dignitaries come into the United States to meet with our president, no matter who it is, they have to come from the airport and drive through Washington, D.C. So what do they see? They see homelessness. They see graffiti. They see ugliness instead of a nation that is a strong power in the world and, is supposed to be beautiful. Our nation's capital should be beautiful, and it's not. And through the years, our government has ignored Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is not a state, it's a city. It's supposed to be a neutral ground. That's why our founding fathers never made it a state. It's the nation's capital for all states. So
I didn't know that part, Kathy.
Yeah. It was on purpose that Washington, D.C. was not part of a state. I mean, it's just a small little city. I don't even know what the population is. So let's find out. What is the population? What is the population of Washington, D.C.? If you guys haven't tried out ChatGPT 5, it's amazing. It is awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
ChatGPT. Okay.
ChatGPT 5 just came out last week, and it's game changer it's amazing. So no more Google anymore. It's ChatGPT. So the 2020 census was recorded, and the population of Washington, D.C. is 689,545 people.
That's a lot of people.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
So let's see. What's the population of Rhode Island? Because I believe that's the smallest state in the nation. And I can talk to it.
Ooh.
So the population of Rhode Island is approximately 1 million people, 1,112,000.
Okay.
So it's not quite as big as Rhode Island, but it's a huge population, and it's a mess. Crime is crazy, and President Trump wants to clean it up. And why shouldn't we? Hi, Angela. I've been good. Thank you for asking. So we have a clip here. Let me pull it up. I have a couple of clips, but we'll start with this first one. And this is what happened. And I'm going to mute myself because it's going to start. So, LaTanya.
Okay. So tonight, everyone, as Kathy is getting the clip together, we're going to be talking about, especially Angela, with you joining, we're going to be talking about two of the things that are happening right now that I think we want to help bring awareness to, where like legacy media, they're bent toward what they're bent toward. And so we want to just bring the facts. And then, of course, always you research yourself about, you're hearing a lot about the and I get that word mandering, and it's
Gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering, and it's not good on either side. And I'm still, so it's not going to be, this side against that side. They both do it. But if you want a better understanding of it, which I'm still learning about it and would have questions, that's what we're going to attempt to do tonight.
Yeah.
As well,
I'll give you the history of it.
Yes. And as well as, yes, as what's happening with Washington, D.C. And it's just, you'll see.
Yeah, we're going to start with Washington, D.C. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Now, I found this interesting. We're not going to play the whole clip, but a good portion of it. So it's a little bit long, but it gives an idea of what's happening. So this was on day one that President Trump federalized the Washington, D.C. police and sent in the National Guard. And 23 arrests happened on that day. So here's a little clip as to what's going on.
The first day of President Trump's D.C. police takeover, yielding nearly 24 arrests, and that includes suspects wanted for murder and gun crimes. Meanwhile, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, she is somewhat blasting the crackdown. She calls the deployment of National Guard troops unsettling and disturbing.
Also, Dana, the mayor and other Democrats pointing to numbers that show D.C. crime at a 30-year low. But top D.C. prosecutor Jeanine Pirro, fresh on the job, less concerned with stats, she says, and more concerned about the victims.
Thanks. Martin issued press release hailing the drop in crime rates at the end of April. What changed?
It's never enough. This changed. It's never enough. You tell these families crime has dropped. You tell the mother of the intern who was shot going out from McDonald's near the Washington Convention Center, oh, crime is down. You tell the kid who was just beat the hell and back with a severe concussion and a broken nose, crime is down. No, that falls on deaf ears. And my ears are deaf to that. And that's why I fight the fight. Thank you.
So we will talk with Jeanine Pirro in a matter of minutes here, and we'll get the lowdown on what's happening thus far. Do not miss that. First, though, our coverage begins today. David Spunt is live in Washington. And David, let's begin there with you. Good morning.
Bill, good morning. 28 days left of DOJ control over the D.C. Police Department unless Congress steps in and extends it. but both the House and the Senate have to agree. Now, National Guard troops took to their posts last night, patrolling the streets and neighborhoods of the nation's capital. No major incidents that we are aware of overnight. Things seem to go smooth, and that watch continued through the night. We also joined Attorney General Pam Bondi exclusively as she met with federal agents from the FBI, the ATF, Park Police, National Guard, and officers from the Metropolitan Police Department. Joining her, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro for District of Columbia, Police Chief Pam Smith, and the heads of the ATF and U.S. Marshals.
We know when you leave your homes every day, your spouses, your families, there's no ordinary day in what you do. And thank God for all of you and for what you're doing for DC, for our country and our world by keeping us safe. We're here for you. We're here for you 24/7.
Yesterday, Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and others met with DC's Mayor Bowser and the city's police chief to discuss a transition plan that gives DOJ temporary control over the department.
I think it's something that is doable. We know that we have to get illegal guns off of our street.
Mayor Bowser not a fan of using the National Guard. Her response, though, has been somewhat measured over the past few days. She held a virtual town hall last night and upped the ante a little bit with her rhetoric. Watch.
We don't live in a dirty city. We are not 700,000 scumbags and punks. We don't have neighborhoods that should be bulldozed.
More so than other critics of the move who insist the president is making the wrong move by federalizing the police department.
This is about the president playing king, trying to be the authoritarian leader, the dictator. He sees a little opening in the law here.
And again, once the 30-day period is up, Congress could authorize an extension. It's unclear, though, if that's going to happen, Bill.
Hey, David, thank you for that. Talk to you throughout the day here. David Spunt, D.C., thank you. Dana?
And we want to bring in Charlie Hurd. Of course, he is the host of Fox and Friends Weekend, and want to get your take on it because you're a D.C. guy, meaning that you're not a D.C. guy, but you've lived there for a long time and you know it very well. You've worked there. Joe Scarborough had this to say.
Cars and bikes stolen, yes.
I know. And trees, don't forget the trees. But Joe Scarborough talked about some of the journalists down there. Watch here.
This is an interesting thing where I'll hear, I actually heard from a reporter when this was happening going, well, if he doesn't overreach, this is actually a good thing for quality of life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because DC right now, I had this happen to my family and I had that. They go down the list. And then saw him tweet something completely different. So DC, there has been a problem in DC.
I mean, at least he's calling him out on it.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of interesting because, of course, nobody knows the depth of the problem more than those of us in the media who have worked in D.C. and lived in D.C. for a long time, because we have endured a lot of the crime. Everybody knows somebody that has been held up, has been mugged, and of course, we all know people who have endured far worse things, personally, we know. And so it's kind of interesting. And I do think that one of the reasons that the White House press conference the other day was so jam-packed is because on a personal level, so many people who cover the political news are deeply invested in this, and they are kind of curious about it. I think it's interesting the immediate reaction from Democrats is to object to it. And you do have to kind of wonder because, of course, if they, it wasn't that long ago that these same people were talking about wanting to make DC a state because you would assume because they want to help the place. But I don't think that's what they're interested in. I think at the end of the day, they're just interested in making DC a state because they want the power, but they don't really have any solutions to fix any of it. And Donald Trump comes along and says, hey, I'm going to try this. It's something different for sure. And maybe he'll have some success.
Charlie, what do you think of this story about the crowds on demand? Literally renting people for the day or for the evening. It's up 400% in terms of paid protester requests. That's Washington, D.C. I assume they come from Northern Virginia or parts of Maryland. What do you know about this? And will we see them?
Yeah. So, and we've already seen some reports that that these crowds have been activated right now to protest this right here, which you're seeing, I think, on the screen there from, I guess that's Monday. And it's another reminder that there are massive, heavily bankrolled interests who are interested in this is a major political story for those people. This is not a matter of basic safety, which is all it should be for politicians. You would think that politicians could agree, whether you're Democrat or Republican, whether these people vote for you or don't vote for you, you would want the safest federal city on earth. You would want people to be able to go to school without being worried about getting mugged or worse. But for whatever reason, and I've wondered a lot about it over the years. I can't give you an answer to it, but for some reason, there is massive amounts of money, very wealthy interests that are deeply invested in keeping this chaos going and opposing even the most commonsensical solutions to real problems that affect real people.
It's interesting to imagine that their biggest fear is that crime goes down. and I know what the statistics.
So there's a lot of backlash as to what he's doing, and why is that? I forget, there was a reporter, I don't know what station she was with, but she had been jumped. She works in Washington, D.C., and she had been mugged on her way to work one time. You're muted, LaTanya. So it's like, why are the Democrats again against this? The crime is rapid. 23 arrests. Some of those were murderers on day one. Now I heard it was up to 100 arrests. You're muted.
It's my internet. It's lagging. Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah. I know there's one video I do want to show a little bit. I don't know if it should be one that should be showed first, but it's a video of it's called "How Looters Wiped Out 37 DC Stores."
Oh wow!
Is that one? Yeah. And the mayor flees as Trump seized Capitol, and I think that would be a good video to play and to show, and how some of the residents are speaking. And
yeah, we can show that one. We can show that one. You want to send it to me, the link?
Oh yeah, let me send it to you. Yes, and then we can. Yeah.
And then I have another one from Jeanine Pirro, and this one's going to break your heart. You just, and if you don't know anything about Jeanine Pirro, she was a prosecutor. She was a judge. Then she became a commentator on Fox News. I forgot I'm not, LOL, I'm not a moderator on Kathy's channel. No worries. What was I saying? Oh, she was a commentator on Fox News, and then President Trump made her the U.S. Attorney General for Washington, D.C. And she's tough on crime. She doesn't put up with it, and you can tell by that one clip she doesn't put up with it. The thing that happens in these blue cities, these Democrat-run cities, Washington D.C. is Democrat-run. Mayor Bowser, she's a Democrat. just like Los Angeles, just like New York City, they're Democrats and crime is through the roof. But it isn't just about the crime and the police. The police pretty much have their hands tied with these prosecutors because they'll arrest them. The prosecutors won't prosecute, and then they're out on the streets again to do it all over. And it's just a vicious circle. And what you need to have is I get cashless bail, is that these criminals that get caught in crimes that are poor and cannot pay bail spend the whole time in prison, in jail until their trial. That's for another conversation. I get it could be unjust and they could be innocent and spending time in jail when they're innocent, but they don't have the money for the bail to get out.
Right.
But more times than not, they're guilty of it. So you're letting the criminals who actually did the crime out on cashless bail and expecting them to show up to their court date. Well, guess what? It's just like the people coming into this country illegally. They have a court date. They're handed, you coming into this country seeking asylum? Okay, we'll take you for your word. Here, show up to court on this date. And they don't. So then, who's keeping track? Who's keeping track and who is writing out, thousands upon millions of warrants, a bench warrant for these people? Not only that, but Washington, D.C. police, the big thing during Black Lives Matter, defund the police. Well, guess what they did? They defunded the police. So guess what? They're 400 officers short. 400.
400? How were they able to defund the police?
Stop funding the police. Take the money and put it somewhere else. The whole idea of defund the police was to have a mental health worker go and counsel somebody like a violent schizophrenic and try and talk them down peacefully. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. You want to get that mental health worker, that social worker, they're going to get killed. They're going to get hurt.
Right.
I get there's mental illness out there. I get that there's people hiding drugs.
Right.
I get that. But defunding the police, then you have this mess. Here in California, I just found this out. In the election, we voted on Prop 36, which was to prosecute people for crimes. So there was no more, you shoplift $900 and you get off free. No, we did it. We voted that down. Governor Newsom is refusing to fund it. We voted it in. We, the taxpayers, the voters, the state of California want this. Governor Newsom refuses to fund it.
Wow.
So it's like, what is the point of voting? And I know a lot of people are thinking about that. And since we started this program, we're all about Christians getting out there and vote.
Yes.
Vote. Your elections have consequences. This is why we as a Christian community need to 100% get out there and vote. Not 50% of us, not 40% of us, all of us, because this stuff wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't have leaders in there who want to do their own thing. Governor Newsom just wants to be president and do his own thing.
Yeah.
And I can see him getting in there, and I'm sorry for anybody who likes Obama, but all Obama did was talk a little bit and take vacations. He spent $200 million on taking vacations. He and Michelle and the family. They were always flying somewhere on vacation. So do we need another leader like that? Do we need a president who's not going to listen to the will of the people? We have a president right now listening to the will of the people. Everything we wanted him to do, he's doing. We wanted him to close the border. You know, there has not been one illegal person coming over the border illegally in 3 months. That's a closed border.
Yeah.
He did that.
Yeah.
He's deported 100,000 criminals, illegal criminals here in this nation, and 1 million have self-deported out of the 15 to 20 million, whatever it is, that came in illegally. Well, Ted's yelling at me. 1.6 have self-deported.
Oh. Yeah.
It's a new stat. But they're self-deporting. They're filling out what Biden, the little app that said, if you're seeking asylum, fill this out and you can come in. Well, now they're filling out the little app saying, I want to leave. We're getting them on the plane free of charge and a little bit of pocket money and sending them back to their country.
Wow.
They're self-deporting. Awesome. So he's trying. So we want him to be tough on crime. We want law and order. We want none of this stuff that is going on here. I just saw on Facebook, one of my realtor friends that I had worked with, she got mugged here in Menifee.
Wow.
And she's warning everybody, especially if you're older and by yourself, don't go out at night.
Wow.
That's here in Menifee. We have a good police force. There hasn't been crime. We're the 18th safest city in the nation. We're not number one, but we're 18th out of all the cities in the nation. Menifee, California is on the 18th, number 18 in the safest city list. So why wouldn't the left want this? Because, and this is their reasoning. This is why they don't want it. This is why you got the Jasmine Crockett's shooting off her mouth. You got the Mayor Bass in LA saying she doesn't want the National Guard in LA. You got Mayor Bowser shouting off her mouth that she thinks this is overkill and they're not a dirty city, blah, 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 blah. The reason that these people don't want law and order is because they want socialism. Socialism gives the government power. Socialism allows the government to control everything. Like that Mondami person that is running for mayor of New York.
New York, right.
He wants government funded grocery store. Well, you control the food, you control the people. Well, guess what? His example of experiment was the government controlled grocery store in Kansas City, Missouri. It just closed their doors today.
It did.
It did.
Wow.
Nobody wants to go there.
Wow.
Nobody wants to go there because it's dirty. It's a mess. They allow homeless in there and they do their thing. They use the aisles as bathrooms in the grocery store. So who's going to want to shop there?
Wow.
The people who work there have a taser.
And the people that work there have to have a taser.
Oh, wow. See, that's that. If I can just interject, that is where I think as we bring forward the different topics and the different things that we bring forward, and I think that's what we're doing, that we also explain why socialism, and I'm learning more about it. It may sound like, oh, make it fair for everybody across, the board and et cetera, and et cetera. And that is just, I mean, even in scripture, there are some scriptures that talks about certain things. And some people may try to bring in about where it talks about unjust weights. No, that's taking something out of, there. If what scripture comes to mind right now is, if you don't eat, you don't work. I mean, if you don't work, you don't eat.
You don't eat. Right.
Yes, that's just one. And how it's like, how do you think that's going to go if it's like somebody goes to school, I should say, to be an attorney, and they get paid maybe six figures, and then somebody else, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's kind of how socialism is, but then somebody else,
it's shared equity.
A high school diploma, and they get right, and they get, I mean,
here's the definition of socialism. Socialism is I'll share my screen so you guys can see it.
Angela. Exactly.
I'm live.
Okay.
You want to join us?
No, it's all right.
Okay.
I just wanted to give you the right.
All right. Can you guys see that? Make it bigger.
Okay, it up more. Okay, that's better.
So socialism is a political and economic system in which the means of production, distribution, and exchange, such as factories, land, and resources, are owned or regulated collectively, often by the state or the community as a whole. So China's one step further in its communism, but you can't not privately own a business in China. The government has to own part of it. Its core idea is that wealth and resources should be distributed more equally among members of society, with an emphasis on meeting everyone's basic needs rather than maximizing individual profit. In practice, socialism can range from systems with strong government control of industries to mixed economies where private enterprises exist alongside extensive public welfare programs. So basically, the government wants to take control of everything in that respect. So, and what they say, tax the rich. So the rich, and we've heard that all through the campaign, that the rich need to pay their fair share. Well, here's what I say. We have free will. The Bible tells us to bring our first fruits into the storehouse, the first 10% of all our increase. God never, remember Abraham, he was extremely wealthy. God never told Abraham, unless I'm wrong, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I have never read in the Bible where God told Abraham to distribute his wealth among everybody. He just said, bring me the sacrifice. Right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, he didn't even, when Abraham, when he gave, he didn't even was even told given 10%. He gave out of the spoils. He just gave out of,
his heart.
So right. So
the way I look at it is, because I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
God will direct me where I am to give. I give him my 10%. I pay my tithes, and then from there, Ted and I together will hear from God and choose where we're led to give. The government doesn't tell us. They should have no business in telling us what to do with our money. We pay our taxes. So there you go. You got my tax money. You haven't been a good steward over it over the past years. Those prove that.
Yeah.
So why should I listen to you to distribute my wealth among all these welfare programs when they're uncovering major fraud of people who have the ability to work who refuse to?
Yeah.
You know, Deuteronomy, what is it? 28:8, and I probably got that all twisted, so don't hold me to that. But it's the scripture that says that God will bless the work of your hands. Blessings come when you do things. You know, and I know that you and I have had our agreement about the Word of Faith Church, which I belong to a Word of Faith church. But here on prosperity, I don't sit back and I'm not going to sit and say, God, I claim that you will bring me $1 million in Jesus' name. I believe I received that in Jesus' name. No. God, I believe your word, and your word says that you will bless the work of my hands. And I was watching another YouTube video on a Christian entrepreneur coach, and what she says, you know, made a lot of sense, is that God will direct us into a business and work, and where we're supposed to go, we're supposed to work in it, but he brings the outcome. So whatever he chooses to bring to me, I'm grateful. If it's not $1 million, that's okay. You know, also in Philippians 4:19, God shall supply all of our needs according to his riches and glory. Our needs are taken care of. Got a roof over head, got clothes on my back, and I got food in the refrigerator. Right. I'm good. Everything else is extra. Now, if I can't pay my bills, I can't be a blessing to others. So, but that's a whole nother story. But what I'm saying is, socialism tells you what to do with your money. But we are a nation of capitalism. Our economy works on capitalism. Capitalism creates jobs for people. Capitalism produces goods and services. So when people go to work, you know, the farmer goes to work and produces food, vegetables, you know, cows, you know, chickens, whatever we eat, and produces that, and it goes to the grocery store. We buy it, and we don't have to be farmers ourselves. We pay for it. That's capitalism. And if somebody works hard and is rewarded for it, who are we to say that you have to distribute that through the other people who don't have as much as you?
Right. Well, you know, I'm not saying all of them, but I don't think, honestly, they really want socialism, because that's going to affect them.
No, they want socialism. They want the power. They want the power of the government. And if you really listen to, if you follow Angela or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You follow her, AOC?
Oh,
She lets
AOC,
you know what
yeah.
she wants. She's laying the path that she's going to run for president someday. She's looking to take over Chuck Schumer's seat in the Senate. It's just one step closer to the presidency. We can't let that happen. That woman's dangerous. And then there's Jasmine Crockett.
Oh.
Doing her little gangster dance down the hall of Congress. Really? I have never seen such a stupid, smart person in my life. She's brilliant. She's very smart. She got great grades. She's an attorney. What happened? Really, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh boy.
But back to what's going on in DC. I got another clip from Janine Pirro. And then after this, we'll do your clip. Did you send it to me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to mute myself because it's going to start.
Okay. She say, even off-grid is the same thing. They work and they work very hard. It's not a job, but they are working. Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh. Sorry about that. I have internet issues right now.
Yeah, it's kind of lagging on both.
Let's
Yeah.
again. Oh, there we go. Okay. I got it.
To go to college with no mandate for getting on a public bus with an illegal gun, shooting an individual in the chest, which to me is intent to kill. And he walked away after we convicted him. He walked away with no jail time. If that's what you want in this district, then I'm the wrong person to be United States Attorney.
So, new U.S. Attorney for D.C., Janine Pirro, laying down the law at yesterday's DOJ news conference. Pirro took on reporters for citing crime stats, saying she's more concerned about the victims and their families. She joins us now. And I think you are the living embodiment of the phrase, right place at the right time. And you've been there for a few weeks now. Some of the things that you've seen are very disturbing. You have thoughts on how you think things could get solved. But in the commercial break, you were talking about one thing that has really troubled you, and that is the homicide rate of young people.
Yeah. First of all, it's great to be with you, Bill and Dana. Of course, I miss all my friends at Fox, but I am, in my element here. The truth is that I just, kind of on a whim just said, let me see the number of homicides of teens last year in DC and this year in DC. You're looking at the 2024 kids who were shot and killed with firearms in 2024. There are 29 of them. Okay, every one of them is an African American minority community. This is a community that's being.
Wow.
And the news did not report any one of these because they were not killed by a white cop.
It doesn't fit the narrative.
Nope. No, but that is beyond horrific. I'm sorry. That is just beyond.
Wow.
One of them should have never been killed.
I didn't even know. I didn't. Wow. 29.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. You can see the ages.
Yeah.
14.
So, 19.
So all of these were teens. All of them were teens.
A 3-year-old.
A child. I mean, a baby, and the rest of them were all teenagers.
Yep.
Oh,
that's horrific.
Look at that baby. I know.
And the media didn't cover it. And you say that Washington D.C. is okay?
I didn't hear this, and this was just in 2024.
Right.
Wow.
Well, she's got more to say.
Victimized by violent crime. Now, in 2025, we've got 16, again under the age of 19, who have been shot and killed as a result of a firearm. So totally, we've got 45 African-American kids who've been killed. And the crucial point right now is that the clearance rate is 30%. What does that mean? That means that they've only solved 30% of the homicides of these teens in the last year and 7 months. That means that 70% of the murders that were committed with guns against teens in the minority community, of those 70% of the murderers are walking around free. We don't know who they are because the cases have not been solved. And therein lies the problem. Young criminals in D.C. have been emboldened to commit crimes because they believe that they're not accountable. And why do they believe that? Because they are not accountable. We've got a DC council that has passed laws that make it almost impossible for me, as both federal prosecutor and kind of quasi-local prosecutor, to be able to incarcerate these kids. I can't even prosecute a teen who's 17, 18, 19 years old. Forget the 14, 15-year-olds who shoots someone with a gun. If you shoot someone with a gun in D.C. and you're up to 19 years of age, I can't even indict you.
Well,
and so
you
this
could,
is a message.
just to jump in here, you could if the D.C. Council changes the laws.
Right,
and
but the laws are tying my hands.
I got you. Let me just show our audience what you're trying to get the D.C. Council to do. You want them to repeal the Youth Rehabilitation Act, the Incarceration Reduction Amendment Act, and the Second Chance Amendment Act. I read through this, Janine. You're basically trying to eliminate the reductions in sentencing for serious crimes especially, and also to get away from hiding the record from those in the future who would look back on the crimes for which they were convicted.
Yeah.
Do I have that right? And if
You
I
have
do,
it totally
how
right.
would that change crime in Washington?
Well, what it would do is it would make people accountable, number one, and we're also looking to lower the age of criminals. What's happening is, even if you shoot someone with a gun, you go to family court where the purpose is rehabilitation. You get to go to an ice cream social and you get to go to yoga classes. That's nonsense. And that's not what we need in the nation's capital. And that's not why the president put me here. The president wants to make the Capitol safe and beautiful. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And the only way to do that is to change the laws that have protected young children who are committing adult crimes. And all of these statutes that they've passed don't allow me to incarcerate. They allow the removal or the erasure of convictions. How fair is that to a parent who wants to find out whether or not a nanny is someone who's been convicted of a prior assault? How fair is that to an employer who doesn't get to understand or know who he's hiring? Everything about the DC Council and the laws that they passed are liberal, they're defense-leaning, and they're not in favor of the citizens of DC. And that's what President Trump is fighting, and that's what we're going to change. We're going to change the laws. We're going to lower the age of criminal responsibility. We've seen too much of it. We've seen homicides against young people. We've seen assaults in areas where just a couple days ago, a kid gets a fractured nose and gets a severe concussion by 12 and 13-year-olds trying to steal a car. Why? Because they've been allowed to do it. Not anymore. If we have our way, we will be able to make DC safe again. And the president's going to do it. And we've got this. Last night, there were 700 federal and local cops on the streets. And this is what the community wants. They want to be able to be safe. They want to come to the nation's capital and look at the fabulous museums and the monuments that we have here. And last night, there were 43 arrests, and we seized 7 handguns. And every night, it's something else. But this is a message that we're not going to tolerate crime as if that's just the way things go. And I'm tired of hearing that crime is down. It's not down for people who are suffering from violent crime.
And one thing I've admired about you, when you got there, you reached out at your hand, and Muriel Bowser, the mayor, took it. Yeah. And you guys have a good relationship. I know she's under a ton of pressure from her left flank and maybe her city council. Here's what she said last night at a town hall.
This is a time where community needs to jump in, and we all need to do what we can in our space, in our lane, to protect our city and to protect our autonomy, to protect our home rule, and get to the other side of this guy and make sure we elect the Democratic House so that we have a backstop to this authoritarian push.
So I know there's always tension between local, state, and federal governments. That always happens. How can this work best for everybody in the long run?
Well, yesterday I was in a meeting with the mayor, along with the police chief, Pamela Smith, and with our attorney general, Pam Bondi. And the meeting went very well. And our effort is to make DC safe. And I think that in the end, we will all come together and make that happen. Politics and ideology are something that, you can go sell to the left or sell to whatever. But the truth is the mayor and the police chief have an obligation to make this city safe.
But didn't she change her public message within 12 hours?
Sure, she did.
At noon, it seemed like she was saying one thing about cooperation. In the evening, it was different.
Sure.
I mean, that's how you heard it, right?
Yeah, that's how I heard it. But does it matter to me? No.
Another question for you. We got to wrap here. But you're in a unique position because of the laws in the District of Columbia. You have federal authority and you have local authority.
Right.
That makes you kind of a double threat. And based on your relationship with the president that I know goes back decades, is that the reason he picked you?
You'll have to ask the president why he picked me, but I'm back to my roots, Bill. I mean, this is what I did for 30 years. I've been a prosecutor, a judge, and a DA. I fight crimes. I fight on behalf of the victims. I fight on behalf of those people who simply want to be safe and want to be able to walk outside their homes and not worry about a bunch of thugs or young punks going after them and beating the hell out of them. Those days are over, and we're going to make sure they're over. Politics is something else. I'm all about making sure that criminals are made responsible and accountable for the crimes they commit.
Okay.
This was something that made me, kids in early and late teens, they know what they are doing when they commit a crime. In the Old Testament, if a son was out of control, it could mean death for him. And that is so true, sis. That is so true. And in my prayer group online, we have been studying about children and just obedience and just all of that. And let me see, it's Ephesians 6:1-4. Well, how it's laid out, it talks about, how children obey your parents, honor your father and your mother. So, and there is a promise with it, so that your days may be long upon earth. Mm-hmm. When children disobey their parents, your life can be cut short. And we see, I don't know the ones that we saw that, the 43, that just like what was mentioned, if that would have been, and this word is so ingenious, it's not even genuine. if that would have been like of another ethnicity on another one, oh, the outrage. Oh, the outrage. But because, if I'm not mistaken, those crimes are of the same ethnicity, it's like, that's okay. That's 43. I think it's 40. I mean, oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
And it's black on
And
black crime. You know, it's black gangs killing people, black people.
and where is the out? Look at these young people's lives that have been snuffed out.
Right.
And on top of that, that was just in 2024. We're going to show a video to show you the looting and all of that, and where, and I want to say, even in the video that I sent, that you're going to hear from, I think, two of the, no, not in that one. I think it's another one. It speaks of that, but this one might show it. It might show it, but where some of the residents, they are saying how one lady is in a car and she is like, wow, this is so nice. I can ride with the windows down, not having to worry about somebody, something happening. Another gentleman, he was like, wow, it's so nice to just walk down, I guess whatever the street where the Capitol is on, and I'm not smelling weed or all the homeless tents. I'll share this. There was this, and I still kind of follow their content, but they're from, they're content creators, and the lady, she's from Ghana, I think. It's an African country, and one of her bucket lists was come to America and to come and to visit. And so when she came, the place that she went to was Washington, D.C. And she was like walking, wanting to see the capital of our great nation. And she was like in shock, because this was when all the homeless tents were out. And she was like, guys, are you kidding me? Like, this is America. And what? She was like filming, and she was in shock that she was like, because we don't, from what we get and what we hear, she just couldn't believe it. And then on top of that, it's at the Capitol, where the president and all these people, and she was like, look at all these tents and these people and these homes. I mean, she was just in shock. And so anyways.
Yeah, it's awful. So I got that video up that you sent me.
Oh,
so
yes.
We'll add that and we'll play that. It's 12 minutes long. Do we need to play the whole thing?
No, I don't think we do. I think we
Okay.
No, we yeah. Because yeah. Because he doesn't come into
over. Look at these people. Look at them go. This is crazy. This whole place has been falling apart for months.
This video posted to the popular social media account Washingtonian Problems is going viral.
Look at
Several
this.
suspects seen sprinting down the street, arms full with thousands of dollars in stolen stuff. Now DC police are asking for help tracking down these
Look at
six
all these
suspects
people.
who they say got away with $20,000 worth of merch from this
They're all
outlet in
masked
Georgetown.
up.
That's more than my car. It's a lot, yeah.
DC cops say the suspects came into the Aloe around 7:30, grabbed what they could from the display racks, and ran off, hopping into a silver or gray Ford Edge with covered tags.
At least they buy American.
That's crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff.
This Aloe just the latest high-end athleisure store in Georgetown to be targeted. March 24th, cameras rolling inside the Lululemon just up the street.
Lululemon.
Several suspects in hoodies and face masks walk into the store just before noon and take off with what they can carry.
More popular brands, as it gets up in popularity, it makes sense that these things would happen.
Tuesday, 2 security guards.
No, it doesn't make
spotted at
sense
the
that these
Alamo
things would happen. It's not the brand's fault the store got looted. No, it's the fault of people who won't lock up these criminals, which is why the mayor is gone. She's left, escaped. But look what happened just 5 days ago.
This video shows around 20 to 30 young people swarming the 24/7 Best Tobacco and Wireless on the 1500 block of Benning Road. DC police say they arrived around 11:40
Look at
Friday
this
night,
place.
throwing items in and outside of the store. Video from an employee shows the aftermath.
This is terrible.
Items scattered everywhere. Police say multiple items were stolen and an employee suffered a minor
This place is
injury.
going to shut down.
On Saturday, loyal customers stopped by to check in on the business that's only been open for around 2 months.
Just came over here to see how they doing because it's a nice
brand new store.
The guys are nice here. It's no problem. So
This is why you can't have nice things in places that are just plagued with crime. A new business, they see an empty storefront, they say, hey, it's a great opportunity. The rent's really low. And then they move in and find out why.
You just need to control.
No wonder you wanted to clean it up. That's insane. That
and see, and this is what is so, I mean, I don't even live there in that place, but this is what is, I'm just like, really? The people who are, I mean, their hate and derangement of President Trump is just, it's gone beyond, it's crazy. Because
it's crazy.
Why are they not getting behind, and at least be like, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I know.
Look what Janine Pirro had said is that her hands are tied as a prosecutor because of the laws that city council has put in. And that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why crime is high in California. That's why it's high in Oregon, in Washington, Seattle. What was it, 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago. This rapper gave his life to the Lord the day before he was gunned down at a church picnic.
Where? In Washington, D.C.?
In Seattle, Washington. He was turning his life around. He was gunned down right in front of his fiance and his little girl. And he was just saved and baptized the day before. He had dedicated his life and gave his life to God, to Jesus the day before.
Praise God that he,
We know where he is, but in a church, in front of the church, it was on the church grounds, they were having a picnic. It's crazy. I mean, it's just truly awful. And these stories don't hit the media. And this is because we have gotten so lax in who we elect. And it's the politicians that have done this by the laws that they make. They're elected to be our representatives and lawmakers. And it goes down to the city and state levels. It's not just in Washington, D.C. It's not just like in Congress or anything like that. It starts at the city level. And because the people in our cities are the ones that move up to our counties, and they move up to the states, and then they move up to the federal level. And we need to be more conscious of who we're voting for, because this is the result of it. The church has been laxed, and I blame it on the church. The church was more concerned about having to pay taxes than doing what's right for the community. That's the church. I put it on the pastor. And there are pastors today that still will not stand up for people.
Yeah.
That are okay and not saying a word about politics and allowing this stuff to happen.
Yeah.
So this is a good segment into what's happening with gerrymandering, because that is going to affect our elections. Now, let me pull it up here. Go back to what is gerrymandering and the history of it.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the history of it.
Okay.
I hope you guys can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Can everyone?
So
Okay.
yeah. So basically it started, well, let's go back. So the United States Constitution says that there's one representative for every 30,000 people when it was written.
Okay.
But it also sets a limit of how many representatives can be in the House of Representatives, how many congressmen can be in the House of Representatives at 435. Well, there's 330 million people in the United States. So if you take that and divide it by 435, it comes out to a lot more than 30,000. So basically one representative covers 760,000 people, something like that. Now, because there's no way that we can have one representative for 30,000 people. Just not going to happen. So in the early, where it started in the early 19th century, the term gerrymandering comes from a political incident in Massachusetts in 1812. Governor Elbridge Gerry approved a state Senate district map designed to favor his Democratic Republican Party. So I guess the Republicans started it. Here we go. One oddly shaped district was said to resemble a salamander, prompting a Boston newspaper to combine Gerry and salamander into gerrymandering. Gerrymander. Okay.
Wow.
Because they're not uniform districts. The lines are not uniform. If you, here, I pulled up a map of California. So here's a district map of California. It's all kind of weird. Look at these lines. They're not uniform at all. Can you see that? I don't know if I zoom in.
Okay.
So, and then you got all these little ones in here that are even worse. Look at Los Angeles. This is Greater Los Angeles, which includes my area here.
Now, what does all that mean?
This is our representative districts. So there's one congressman for these districts, and it's supposed to be based on population. But so they got these numbers. So gerrymandering is, they form these mapping outlines like this one here, this 31 district. It's got a little bit of blue in it. But the blue one, and kind of, it looks like puzzle piece. So going back to the history of gerrymandering. So while Gerry did not invent partisan district manipulation, his name became forever linked to the practice. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, gerrymandering became a common tactic for political parties in state legislature to secure more seats than their vote share would naturally allow, because naturally it's allowed on population from the census. The maps are to be redrawn every 10 years when there's a census. We have a census every 10 years. Civil rights era in the 1960s, the Supreme Court rulings like Baker versus Carr in 1962 and Reynolds v. Sims in 1964 established the one person, one vote principle, requiring districts to have roughly equal populations. Racial gerrymandering cases, decisions such as Shaw v. Reno in 1993 held that racial gerrymandering could violate the Equal Protection Clause. Well, population is population. It shouldn't matter what color your skin is. But there are some people out there, some politicians will say, well, in this district, there's more white people than there are blacks, so whites are going to get preference over the blacks' needs.
So what do they do then?
So they start squiggling the lines to make it to their benefit.
So
it becomes a Republican Democrat thing. So both sides have done it. And like what's going on in Texas right now, they're doing it because they've had an influx of population come into Texas after the census. And their reasoning is that they need to change the districts because the population isn't equal. It's not, the districts are not fair by population, the number of people per district. And one of those districts that is getting rearranged on their map is Jasmine Crockett's district. By them moving the lines, she will lose her seat.
Now, how? I mean, how?
How? Because by changing the lines based on the voters that voted for her, some of those voters will be put into a different district. So
but if
like
they still vote for her,
they can't vote for her if they're not in her district anymore. So it's removing part of her constituents into another district, into another representative's district. Based on population. That's what the governor says. He's doing it based on population. It's not supposed to be based on, well, we can, and they are saying that they can get, 5 more Republican seats out of it in Congress, but it's not supposed to be that. So like the last census here in California lost 2 congressional seats because the population decreased, because people are moving out of California as fast as they can. And even more so now with the latest things that have happened. And that's another show. But so that's what's happening. So the definition of gerrymandering is the deliberate manipulation of electoral district boundaries to give one political party or group an advantage over the other. It shouldn't happen. It should be illegal. It's like, okay, you should, well, they gave me a grid. So basically, this is what gerrymandering looks like on a map. There's 2 ways of doing it, packing and cracking. So if they want to pack a district or pack a party district in a certain map, they'll do this. They'll surround a small portion, let's say Republicans and Democrats. So the blue's Democrats. So the Republicans will surround a blue district by changing the maps to have more Republican voters in the map, in the district. So this will be a whole district. This would be a whole district. This would be a district. Where cracking is, they'll go into a district and they'll break it up. So we see a lot of that here. So you see that here? Where is it? Right here. They went in and they broke up this district because it's not uniform.
Mm.
And you see here, 39 through District 41, it's not uniform. I mean, you got straight lines up here at the top of Riverside County, or actually it's the city of Riverside, but all this is all jagged. And I'm actually down here somewhere. And they split. Well, this is El Cajon. But they split it all up. And they recently did that to my district, where they took out Norco's up here. They put it in Riverside District, and the Corona District here, they took out from down here, they took out Temecula, the city of Temecula and Fallbrook, and they're in a different district now. It makes no sense. And you can see with these lines, it makes no sense. And look at this little pink one in here. This one is all kinds of crooked. It's right here. And they go in and chop it up. So this area right in here is mostly, this is Maxine Waters area down here. This is, Compton and Inglewood, where there's mostly Black constituents. So they took this and they lined it out here, and then it goes, 45 goes into here, and then there's a small little piece here, and then there's a piece here. It makes no sense. You're muted. You're still muted.
So with them doing that, does that mean that the people still got to vote though, and they don't have to vote for those people? They don't automatically get those spots, right?
Well, it's just like the electoral college votes. The presidential race has to win certain electoral votes.
Yes.
Well, the winners go by district. And the other well, actually, they don't. How it works is, so you got one representative. So like District 41, they realigned it. So because it was mostly, Riverside County is mostly red. But as you can see, when you get around a large city like the city of Riverside is a college town, and of course it's Democrat. So, they try to do it where they draw the maps to where there's more than one party than the other. And what this is for our representatives district wise. So in that district, you're only voting for either a Democrat or a Republican. And that's who's going to represent you in Congress. So like Ken Calvert is our representative, and he barely made it.
Wow.
So that's wrong. There's got to be a better way. I have a video, and this will be the last one. On gerrymandering, and it explains a lot.
Let me see. Okay. Let me. If anyone has a question, please do. This is our last. Okay, there we go. Okay. Gavin Newsom.
California Governor Gavin Newsom once again butting heads with Trump and also Republicans.
But this time he's vowing to wield gerrymandering in his state to neutralize any seats Republicans may gain in the House due to Texas' controversial redistricting efforts. Let's take a look.
Hey, President Trump, it's time to stand down. It's time to make another phone call to Greg Abbott. This time, instead of calling him and telling him you're, quote unquote, entitled to 5 congressional seats, it's time to tell him to stand down. If you don't, California will neutralize anything you do in the state of Texas. California will continue to punch above its weight. We're not going to sit back and watch you light democracy on fire. We will fight fire with fire.
Newsom posting that video to social media Monday as Texas Democratic lawmakers are now in their 9th day of self-imposed exile in order to deny the legislature a chance to vote on the new maps.
Newsom's threat wasn't taken well on the right. Here's Texas Governor Greg Abbott's response on CNN last night.
All those big blue states, they've already gerrymandered. They got nothing left with regard to what they can do. And know this, if California tries to gerrymander 5 more districts, listen, Texas has the ability to eliminate 10 Democrats in our state. We can play that game more than they can because they have fewer Republican districts in their states.
But, okay, this is the problem. The American people don't want to be part of this game. They literally want the census to work how it was made to work. And so this whole gerrymandering back and forth, even though historically I know it's happened on both sides, I don't agree with it on either side. I think it should follow the rules of the census, which is intentionally, or Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which is that if states grow and have communities of color and things like that, then the representation should grow as well. And the maps should reflect that. Like, these are the points of the census. I mean, that's the point. Every 10 years we have a system. And I actually appreciate that Democrats who are long criticized for not doing anything but sitting back and complaining are actually doing something. I don't agree that this issue in gerrymandering is the one that I would prefer, but there still is something being done. They're not just sitting back and taking it to a vote in Texas and allowing it. And then other Democrats across the country are stepping up like, okay, if you want to break the rules, we'll break the rules. And I know it's technically not breaking the rules, but it's not representing the American people in the way that we want these maps to represent people. And there's multiple examples of, undercounting in the census, overcounting. And so it's not perfect, but it also doesn't require a political affiliation to say, oh, we need some more seats, we need some more votes. Come on, let's just change it because this works in our favor. I don't like it.
Democrats and Republicans gerrymander their districts like crazy because, and what's interesting about this is both parties have an incentive to have gerrymandered districts, and they almost want to let, like, okay, you're a red state, so that's fine. We're going to token opposition to what you're doing, but we do it too in our blue state. And what's so interesting is they just want to have safe districts for each other. So, like, they don't want a competitive district because they don't want to, like, both sides want, instead of having 5 districts where each are evenly split and Republicans and Democrats, like, either side could win and they actually have to campaign, they'd rather just have, even in the red leaning state, the Democrats say, okay, yeah, take your 3 or your 4 and we'll have our 1, and our 1's safe for me and your 4 are safe. They'd rather have it this way than have them all even so that they have to fight in each one of them. So there's just huge incentive to like make this thing in a way that is not favorable from Democratic accountability standpoint. I don't know how you fix it, and you're never going to get buy-in from the two parties to fix it. So this is kind of one of those problems where I'm like, there is no reasonable solution, because the people who would have to sit down and look at this and say, we're doing this a bad way, but it advantages them to do it like this, and both sides. So, and
I think people are just expecting more. This is literally what ignited the MAGA base, right? People are expecting more from, or actually not even more, something different than what has historically existed from new leaderships. People are arguing for Democrats to bring in young voices, new ideas. What I just watched between Newsom and the governor Abbott, that's ridiculous to see 2 leaders get on screen and say, well, I'm going to do this. I felt like grade school. And so that's the point that's disheartening. And just completely ineffective when there's real people who feel underrepresented across the country. There's real data that shows that, districts have grown in size. Like Texas has grown its population of Black and Latino people extreme levels, but none of the maps have reflected that in any way. And so I think that is a conversation that's not going to stop. And I think real people are affected by these games that they're playing. Well, after
I have to agree, because California has nine Republican seats in Congress, and he wants to redistrict it to where we have none. Then, we as conservatives have no representation in the state at all. It's just wrong. There's got to be a better way. It's supposed to be based on population per the census, and it needs to be done. And gerrymandering should not be allowed. It just shouldn't. It's unfair to the voters. Totally unfair. So there's gerrymandering. So again, LaTanya, you have anything to say about that as we wrap up? You're muted.
I'm still needing to educate myself more on it. So, yeah, but it doesn't seem like it's something that's good on both sides. Both sides have done it. Just that this time it seemed like it could work for one party. Then, then Gavin Newsom is like, if you do it, we're gonna do this. So, yeah, but I'm just gonna keep watch on it.
He wants to have a special election, which will cost over $200 million, which of taxpayer money, which state of California doesn't have, and put it on a ballot to vote on it for the state. Well, because in California in 2011 there was an independent commission that chooses how to redraw the map, the election map, the district map. He wants to take it back. Well, whenever you let politicians do something, it's going to be to their favor.
Well, yeah.
And then California, it's very hard right now, California is on a red wave. The tide is turning here in California. We're getting back to pretty much almost purple and not completely blue. Ideals are changing here in California, and it changed after the fires. But if he has his way and it goes onto the election, because Democrats still have the majority here, it could very well happen. The thing is, it's in violation of the California state constitution. He can't do this. So then again, it could get tied up, in litigation. But my big thing is, how can he be allowed to spend money on doing something like that? He needs to be recalled. He just does. But that's for another show. These politicians have too much power, and we have slowly developed into a socialist country. And with Trump at the helm now, we're taking it back.
Yeah.
Little government. No more big government.
Wow. Well, change for some people, it may be kicking and screaming.
Yeah. But the deep state is crumbling, and these politicians like Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and everything that they did that was underhanded and wrong, they're getting found out, and it's all going to start crumbling. So, with that said, does anybody have any questions before we wrap this up?
I don't see any questions. No.
Okay.
No questions.
Well, we thank you for being here, and to help support our channel, I'm going to share my screen again, is if you would go to the Faith and Freedom shop, and there's some new designs, and I hope you like them. And
Okay. Want to show us?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my screen up here.
Okay. And so hopefully,
So the big trend on Etsy was Silly Goose. So I made some Silly Goose shirts. So if it'll pop up. So this one is prettier in the pink. The Silly Goose is guided by the Holy Spirit t-shirt. Watch out.
What does it say?
You can't read it on the dark one. This Silly Goose is guided by the Holy Spirit. Watch out.
Oh my gosh.
Isaiah 30:21.
This Silly Goose is guided by the Holy Spirit. Watch out.
So, and then another one, the next one, this one here. Fueled by coffee, the Holy Spirit, and a dash of Silly Goose.
Fueled
by coffee, the Holy Spirit, and a dash of Silly Goose. So that's 118.24.
Okay.
And then the last one here.
Flapping around joy.
Yeah, flapping around with joy. Flapping around with joy must be the Holy Goosebumps again.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Romans 15:13. I think they're cute.
When have you rolled? Are you just now rolling it out, or?
Yeah. These are brand new in the store.
Okay. Oh, that goose is cute.
Yeah. Well, all over Etsy, the trend has been Silly Goose stuff. I don't know. Yeah, Silly Goose stuff. So I jumped on the bandwagon. So that's that. So yeah, please help support the channel, and I'll put the website up here.
Okay.
Yeah, Faith and Freedom merch.
Guys, I hope that tonight that there's a better understanding for now gerrymandering that you may hear about, and then with what's really going on up there in Washington, D.C. And it's sickening that these people who don't even live there, and when they do come to visit, they're in all their security.
Right.
And yet the everyday people who are there, some may be stuck, they can't just get up and move and the likes. And they are so appreciative to what is happening, because now they can walk outside without the threat of something happening.
Right.
Or
and
just
remember,
so many.
And remember, the reason that the politicians there, the city council and the mayor, they don't want to lose their power. And it's all about power. So it all goes back on who you vote for. Is the person you're voting for going to be your representative and represent your needs, the needs of the people, like law and order, the economy, being able to afford groceries, be able to afford rent, be able to afford to buy a house. Those are the things that these people need to be concerned with. They don't need to be concerned about, how do I want to put this? What they think is going to be popular among their party, which their party's falling apart. In fact, it's about ready to go bankrupt. They can't pay their bills.
Oh my.
Yeah, the DNC is broke. They're not getting
Wow.
donations in, so that says something. That says
So
something.
they're
But
not getting donations like they used to?
no,
Wow.
not after Kamala spent $2 billion and didn't win,
$2
and
billion.
actually cannot account for any of it. So,
Wow.
yeah, the Democrat Party is in bad shape, very bad shape. There may not be a Democratic Party. So
Oh my.
they
Oh.
may, who's left, who's reasonable may go independent. So
Right.
we still have a two-party system, but so if there's no questions, Latanya, I have to say this has been great. It was great to be
Yes.
a part of this. It's been a while. I miss you guys, but we will be back soon.
Yes.
And
But the
I
latest.
pray for you all, and I all to be blessed, and many blessings. Love you.
Aw, yes, love you guys. Until next time.
Until next time. Okay,
Yes.
good night.
Yeah. Good night.